I'm Sunita Subramaniam. I'm a Montessori trained adult. I did my Montessori diploma for the primary in Chennai and my elementary training in Bergamo, Italy. Since 91, I have been working with children, and in the last 15 years, I have been working with adults, also trying to help them understand children using the Montessori method. Humans are the only creatures on the earth who can communicate through language. There are so many different languages in the world. Right from the very beginning, language is what helps us bond with other people, with our group who speak the same language. So for the very young children, it is necessary for us to talk to them as often as possible, almost from birth. If we can do it, talk to our children even when our children are in the womb, it's a very nice aspect. But if not, at least when we are doing things for them, it is very important that we talk to children, because only then do they learn to communicate. Because language is a medium of communication between us human beings. And for us to pass on that gift of our language, whatever the language we speak, it is only through our communication with the children, our talking to the children while we are doing things with them, that they learn the language that we speak. It is very important for us to keep talking to the children directly, not just let them listen to people talking maybe on a telephone or on a video or on a radio or something like that, because that does not give them the idea that language is something that is something that we talk to people, or two people converse with each other. It is very important for us to have this dialogue with children. Even when we are doing things for them and we are caring for them, we can start by telling a very young child what we are doing for them while we are doing it for them. This is very important for children to learn to speak. When we are caring for our child, when we are dressing our child, when we are going to feed our child, we can tell our child that this is what we are doing for you. If we are changing our child, then we can say, look, I'm changing you. This is what I'm going to do. I would like you to help me with it. Try not to kick your legs too much. All of these actually help. Although the child may not seem to cooperate with us, this actually helps the child a lot more picking up language. When we are going to feed a child, we can also tell the child that the child is going to have his or her meal or whatever. And whatever we are doing for the child, we can slowly tell the child in very simple terms what we are going to do with the child. This form of communication helps the child pick up relevant language, because when we are doing something and we are telling the child what we are doing, the child seems to get an understanding of the meaning of the words that we are using. Although immediately they may not, when they start speaking, they may not be able to say this immediately, but this actually helps the children understand the language and its meaning much more. From very young, children start listening to sounds in their environment. There are two aspects that are necessary for the children to start speaking. One is their hearing and the other is their vocal cords. If their hearing is okay, and usually we can say from about 3 months on, if we just snap our fingers and our child follows the sound, we will know that the hearing is okay, and it doesn't require too much of medical assistance to us to know that a child is hearing or not, because when the child's head is fixed and the child can move about, when you snap your fingers or call the child will turn towards the noise or the voice that is calling. So if this is okay, and you will, if we have been communicating to a child, making eye contact with the child and talking to the child, usually around 3 or 4 months, when we speak to the child will focus on our mouth. This is when we know that the child is starting to learn how to speak. And after a while, if we are talking to our child and a child will keep focusing on our mouth, and after some time the child will start to say, okay, I have to exercise my muscles, and that's when the child will start blowing bubbles and trying to make gurgling noises. All of these are exercises that the child is doing by which the child learns to make the sounds that he hears coming out from the adults' voices. Initially, after the gurgling noises, the child will start to make little sounds which are like the consonant sounds, or even like the vowel sounds, first vowel sounds like ah and oo and e, and they will try to make a lot of sounds. Around the first year, end of the first birthday, the child usually tends to make the first intentional word, speak the first intentional word, and this will usually be mama or papa or something like that, but it is said with intention, as if the child meant to speak it. And slowly the child first picks up and speaks nouns, names of things, of objects, and over a period of time the child then fuses the verbs and the nouns and makes a sentence. Sometimes it will be give, which means that the entire sentence was already spoken, or it will be me. Sometimes the child wants to say give me, but it will only say me, but this actually is his way of, or her way of saying a sentence. And over a period of time, the child, by the time he is about 2 years, will speak a complete full sentence with maybe even adjectives or descriptive words which are also included in the sentence. For a child to be able to speak, he must hear a lot of language, and this hearing a lot of language is not just something that is going on in the background, but when actually he sees people talking to him or talking in front of him when having a conversation. Unfortunately, in our lives now, we don't speak too much where the child can hear us. The child sometimes is only hearing a monologue when we are talking on a telephone, so the child doesn't know who's responding or how to respond. So in the environment, when we have people speaking to each other and speaking to the child, then the child's language development is far greater than if the child isn't spoken to, or if the child doesn't hear conversations around him. Each child is very unique, and although we may say there are certain milestones that have to be reached, it depends very much on the environment and how much the child's inner development takes place, and each child will develop at his or her own pace. And sometimes a child may speak early, and after some time, have a period where they may not speak very much, or some child may not speak initially, but then start speaking once they start uttering a word, they will talk non-stop. So we have to wait and judge each child by who he or she is, and not compare them to another person or another child. I would definitely recommend that everybody creates a good environment where a child can learn language, because it's so important for us to help a child speak. This is very much a necessity for us, otherwise we will not help a child integrate into his environment.